Mario Kart as a franchise has been around for quite a while now, dating all the way back to August 27th, 1992, when the first iteration of the series came out, that being Super Mario Kart, all the way back on the SNES. Now, this game was created with the focus of two-player racing in mind. At the time, there was things like F-Zero out, which really focused on that single-player racing, but Miyamoto, being the producer of this game, along with the rest of his team, set out to make a game that was fun for two people to play split-screen simultaneously, and thus was born Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart is a very interesting game in a lot of ways. A lot of people do not like it because, yes, it is aged interestingly, because comparatively to the newer Mario Kart games, you know, it's a bit rudimentary, but we all start somewhere, and I honestly think that Super Mario Kart is one of the coolest games on the SNES, and I played it on Nintendo Switch Online via this 8BitDo controller, which was pretty rad. Just got it in the mail, actually. I kind of fuck with it a lot. But I've been going back to that game quite a bit lately, and that's because I've been bored of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we need a goddamn new game, Nintendo. But until you give me that, I will continue to return to the classics, and hey, maybe that's what you want. I don't know. But Super Mario Kart is pretty decent, so let's talk about it. Super Mario Kart has two distinct modes, time trials and Grand Prix, and then you go through the Grand Prix like you still do to this day. You select Mushroom Cup, Flower Cup, or Star Cup. There's a bunch of different tracks within there, and then you go through all the tracks trying to get the best time. When you're racing on all of these tracks, they of course have some of the iconic Mario Kart isms, but instead of like driving through a item block, you drive over them in this game, and this was just because they didn't have that 3D capability quite yet, and so they found other ways to do it, which I think is very interesting. The items, very rudimentary, but some that are tried and true to this very day. We of course have the red shell, the green shell, and the mushroom that make their appearance here, and some other sort of random things that seemingly didn't really come back, but you know, we all harken back to this original game, which is really cool. The fun part about this game, though, is if you beat the thing, basically, you unlock another mode, which is 150cc. Now, cc is the base speed that the game starts at, so you can do 50cc, which is basically the easy mode of the game. You can do 100cc, which is the normal mode of the game, and then you can also, after you basically 100% the game and beat it, you can play 150cc where you race at a much faster pace. And you know, that was the fastest you could go for a really long time until Mario Kart 8 with 200cc, but it's really cool. A lot of the courses are built, I would say, for 100cc. 150 gets a little out of hand with some of the turns and stuff. And I would say a big learning curve for this game is realizing, at least for me, that you don't really drift as much as you do in the coming games because it doesn't give you any sort of boost afterwards. What you're going to mostly want to do is take your fucking hand off of the gas. You're here, chat. You're going, right? Cruising with this B button, which is different, and then literally as you're making these turns, you take your hand off so you can fully make it, and then you go back on. It's kind of an interesting mechanic. It's kind of a cool little thing, but I do definitely like where they've taken the franchise from here. The thing about this game is that I don't think it's nearly as good as the games that have come after it, but I do really enjoy it, all things considered. It handles very well to this day. It stands the test of time in a lot of ways just because it has a lot of those things like customization. You can choose between a variety of different characters because there is a roster of about 8 characters with things like Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong Jr. even for some reason, Peach, Bowser, and Toad, and then a couple more. Koopas? Maybe Game plays Koopas. I don't really know if Koopas are in this game or what. Maybe they are. I usually just beeline it for Toad. I always play as Toad. Every Mario Kart game we can possibly do, I always will play as Toad just because it's the best way to play. I don't know. Toadette, Toad, either one, I'm happy, I'm good, and I like the way he handles. Each of these characters has different capabilities with different types of top speed and acceleration, different handling, things like that. Bowser's his tried and true heavy-ass self, and Toad floats through the courses with ease, and I believe his focus is more on acceleration. However, in this game, it's not as forward-facing with the actual stats, I guess, like you can see in the newer games where you can press that button and all the stats will come up. I don't think that happens here unless I'm dumb and don't understand it, but you can just mess around with the different ones, see which character plays the best with your playstyle. Seemingly, I always go for a lighter character with heavy acceleration and a low speed, but, you know, that's just what I do. Everybody's got their own preferences. I have a friend who mostly only plays as Bowser in these games, and, you know, he kills it, so whatever you got to do to win the game, you do you. Now, there's a few different courses here, and granted, it's not the like 92 courses or whatever we have in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but there's quite a few, I would say. Some of my favorites are definitely Donut Plains and Koopa Beach, as well as that original Mario Kart circuit, just that first one. It's simple, it's easy, but it's fun. And the thing that's so interesting about this game is that usually you don't want to go out of course. And listen, I have really only played this game against the computers myself and a friend, right? Like, I haven't gone global with this baddie, so I don't know if I'm not doing things right or whatever, but this is just my personal experience with the game. I've realized that if you go off track in this game, it really doesn't matter much. The hopping motion you can do, literally, that will carry you through most of those things, and it's not a big deal, and it's pretty cool. And I also think that could be sort of an actual mechanic of this game, because in a lot of the other courses, the later ones, they start putting pipes and different things in there to stop you from doing that. Also, if you have a mushroom, you can just cruise through the majority of these courses, and that, I think, is really cool. Now, my initial interaction with Super Mario Kart was all the way back when I was like 10 or 12 years old. Like the formative years of my gaming life, right? When I was first starting to get into things. I ended up playing this game pretty much about when the Wii U was out, so trust me, we had Mario Kart 8 and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't very good at it. So what I did is I went and I played this original game, and to my surprise, I low-key kicked ass at it. And obviously, it's a bit easier than the other ones because there's just less to focus on. And so as a kid, the fact that I didn't really have to worry about drifting did a lot for me. And so I played this game quite a lot when I was younger, and I really, truly enjoyed it. And so going back to it now, it is sort of like this still nostalgic thing where it's not like I can completely objectively look at this game like I do a lot of my other retro video games. This one definitely does have more of a personal meaning to me and whatever, but I do think overall it is held up very well. I also think that when I was a kid, I had very little patience for games that felt dated, like very, very little patience. Like I couldn't play Link's Awakening. There was a lot of stuff that I just couldn't play that obviously now I've gone back and played and I've realized, hey, I was very wrong. This is an amazing game. But back then I just didn't have the patience for it. But for some reason, Super Mario Kart wasn't one of those games. And I actually ended up loving it as a kid. And so going back to it now is just kind of fun. It's a nice little romp through some older games. And the beauty of these types of games is that you don't have to put hours and hours and hours into it because you get whatever you get out of it, whatever you want to put in, right? If you want to put in a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, try out a Grand Prix here, maybe do a time trial on this one course that you like, Boo Lake or something like that. You can do that. And that's all you need to do. Like, it doesn't have to be this game where you're, going through this massive story and having all of these different mechanics that you need to learn. And trust me, I love my fair share of those games, but once in a while, it's really refreshing to just play something simple like this. And that's why I really love these games. And that's also why I feel that games like this are what stands the test of time for a lot of systems. Because as things evolve, as they get better or whatever, there's more to mess up, and you don't know that you messed it up back in the day, right? Like, we didn't know that things could be better than Ocarina of Time. I guess I shouldn't say we because I wasn't around then, but you people didn't know that Ocarina of Time wasn't the best it could possibly be, and look at where we are now. Things continue to evolve like that, and when they have these complicated systems within them and they can be confusing, it can be frustrating. But when a game is so simple, so straightforward, that it doesn't need much explaining, it doesn't need to hold your hand through it, it really ages like fine wine. Graphically, I think this game is pretty impressive for what it is on the SNES. The colors look great. They look vibrant. The pixel art is beautiful. It makes me a little dizzy sometimes. I played through all of time trials, like every single race. I did that once on time trials just to see like right before I started filming this video, right? Just to like get a feel for the game again and, go through these courses again and vibe with them. And so I did that. And as I was getting to the end of that, I was getting nauseous sometimes. Just the way that you swing around some of those corners, it can be quite a lot. And also, I think I do have the luxury of things like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I have this luxury of knowing these other racing games that are so improved, I guess, from this original one, but this as a blueprint of what Mario Kart is amazing. If you like newer Mario Kart games and you've never checked this one out, I highly recommend that you just look into it, play a couple courses here and there, because it feels pretty different, but at the same time, you can see where everything came from. And it's really cool to understand the origin of all of these great games. Like, if you love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and you're getting a little tired of it, like I was, check it out. It's really cool. And this is not a sponsor, but 8BitDo is fucking lit. I have never had one of these controllers, and they sent me one for free, so that's my little disclaimer. This is cool. This is super, super cool. Like I've been playing, with the D-pad and with the buttons and shit, and it's been a great, great time. And so it's cool to get sort of a authentic retro experience. Obviously, it's a bit different than what a true SNES controller is, but it's pretty cool too. I really love it. The game ended up selling 8.76 million copies, going on to be a pretty huge success for the system, and obviously it has gone on to brand new heights of what success could even possibly be. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold like 50 million copies. That is unfathomable, chat. Like, that's insane. And so, at the end of the day, it was a successful romp into the very beginnings of what Mario Kart could be. This video was really just me rambling about the game because I do really enjoy it and I think more people should play it. If you like Mario Kart, it's such an interesting game. I will be back with a normal video, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. I'll be back with another video next week, though. So if you like this video, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, check out this video. It's a banger, it's a vibe, it's a good time. Barefaced bitch yet again today, chat, but I feel like I don't look too bad. Plus, the lighting here is doing me justice. I do look a little short in this camera angle, though, but we'll be back to the other set probably next week. I have a newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter. Follow me on TikTok, every social media. Follow me, please. And, yeah. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you over there.